Final topic of the day, as always, brought to us.
It's brought to you, the viewer. Brought to
you by you. Go to kindafunny.com/Gamescast topic, just like Kamui97 did. Hello, everyone. I recently took out a copy of NBA Live 14 from my local library, and I can confirm it's the single worst video game I've ever played.
What game?
NBA Live 14.
Oh, okay.
I'd heard of how bad it was, but never had an opportunity to try myself. This is probably the first game I've ever played that's legitimately broken and unplayable. That got me thinking. We've been in this next generation for a few years now, so now that both consoles have a substantial library of games, so my question is, what's the worst game you guys have played on this generation's consoles?
The worst game.
Oh, no.
I have 3 answers.
Jesus.
One for each console. The worst is on Wii U. I'm going to give it to Sonic Boom. That game is utter trash. When we did the Let's Play of it, Colin, it was infuriating because there's been some bad Sonic games.
Yeah.
But this is a whole new level of just, it's an atrocity. Xbox Loco Cycle. That game sucked, was not fun, and what the fuck? Like, I remember seeing that for the first time being like, huh.
If only we had the Minority Report back then.
That was like, that's a strong, hard fucking no on that shit. What? Like, how did that make it past any like pitch at all? And then, yeah, it was so broken and not fun at all.
Yeah.
And then PlayStation 4, I just got to go Knack. Fuck Knack. I really don't like Knack.
Knack was rough.
Yeah, Knack was rough.
It was bad.
It's weird because when I'm thinking of like broken games and stuff, I'm stuck in PS3 era, right? Of like Naughty Bear or Amy or all these things that would be there. And like this generation around, I can think of games I didn't enjoy. Like that Ghostbusters game we just played was not fun, but it wasn't like a broken mess or something.
Yeah, and that's the problem is I think that when you think about this, a lot of the broken games that aren't the worst thing ever. Like Knack's not the worst thing ever. Right. It just it sucks.
That
but like Assassin's
game
Creed Unity, is broken. I didn't play it, so I don't know. But like I'm assuming people would say that. What else is there?
I'm trying to run through like my download queue, things I've played that, just stupid PSN games I've bought.
Another Wii U one, Mario Power Tennis or whatever. That game kind of sucked.
Was it Power Tennis? Is that what it's called? That was Power Tennis.
Mario Power Smash? I don't know.
Some of the Smash was in there. Ultra Smash?
Ultra Smash, yeah.
Smash? Smashy Smash?
That was no bueno.
But again, it wasn't broken.
It was broken. It's almost as if the real Nintendo champion couldn't win.
It's kind of weird. Maybe that's when it started pulling away and the real Nintendo champion came to live.
You got anything, Cole?
I can't think of anything that's like outwardly broken. I go to last gen for that kind of shit. Amy is the epitome of that for me.
G Buttersnap says, hey, Greg, Colin, and Tim, and especially Kevin. I have a question about LEGO Dimensions.
Hey!
With Disney Infinity going the way of the dodo, that pretty much opens the licenses to other Toys to Life games for their properties, specifically LEGO Dimensions. Obviously, Star Wars is almost a shoo-in to join the Dimensions roster in the future, and with there being multiple LEGO Marvel games, one could assume they would join up too. However, with DC being a big part of the Dimensions already, do you think Marvel won't join the party, or do you think this is our opportunity to finally get that head-to-head DC/Marvel clash so many have been hankering for? Love to hear your thoughts and sincerely thank you for being the coolest dudes in video games.
I think there's a great shot at it. I don't think it'll be a clash. They will definitely not pit it as DC versus Marvel, but I definitely think this is the goal. I mean, to his point, I remember being so adamant talking to on a podcast once about the fact that there would never be a Lego Marvel video game because there's already Lego DC and it's owned by Warner Brothers, and so why would they ever do that? And then they did the game standalone. You're like, oh, that's weird, but there's no way for them to mesh up, whatever. And then Disney came around, did all this stuff, and we're like, all right, well, that's the end of Disney Infinity is going to be its own thing, Lego will be its own thing. And then here we are where, okay, nope, that's not only is that done, but they were already making a Lego Star Wars game before we knew Disney Infinity was folding. They were already making Lego Marvel Avengers and all this stuff. And it goes back to what I say, that Disney gets it, and Disney gets what they have and how to use it and to team up with the people who do great stuff. TT Games does great stuff. And I think it's the same thing where even though Warner is Warner Brothers and wants you to go see every DC movie and everything else, they're not stupid. They know how much people love Disney properties, so they're going to be totally stupid if in this one business model they're not including those things. I don't think you're going to see it open up the world to Lego Marvel versus Lego DC or something to that effect. But Lego Dimensions is already mashing so much up that why wouldn't you do that? Why wouldn't you get that and have that shot?
Do you think that if they were both in Dimensions, they would avoid having people clash, or do you think that
There's no way to. The problem you're going to run into is that the starter pack of Batman, Wildstyle, and Gandalf their whole deal is that you can just have that starter pack and use them everywhere. So no matter what, every level would have to be able to have a Batman in it. So they would play with dialogue, you imagine, a bit or whatever, but they can't keep them apart. There's no way to be like, oh, sorry, DC guys don't work here, because that's totally what they from the jump have been like. That's not what we do. Because that's what Infinity did do, where it was, all right, you can't take a Hulk and put him into the Star Wars playset in terms of, unless it's free, toy box mode or whatever. The story mode over there, you can't put them in. Whereas that's always been Lego Dimensions things that there's no rules, no barriers.
So with year 2 kind of already forecasted, do you think that they'll make any changes and add some Marvel or Star Wars stuff into that, or do you think they'll wait for year 3 for that?
I don't think it's beyond the realm of possibility to announce I'm hosting the Comic-Con panel and I legitimately don't know. Nobody's been like, we have a huge announcement, which they would have been. I don't think it's beyond the realm of possibility to announce that, hey, guess what? We are teaming up with Star Wars. They're going to be a part of it. The first wave will hit with Rogue One or whatever, and then from there on out, we'll worry about it. But they are so deep into, we already know, like, whatever, I forget how many dozen it is, the new franchises, the new properties they're putting into this game. It seems like it's more than likely going to be that we get to summertime right at E3 next year and get, all right, cool, it's going to be Star Wars and it's going to be Marvel and it's going to be this and it's going to be that and it's going to be DC movie universe and it's going to be this.
Here's some other bullshit.
Yeah.
I wonder what bullshit they're out next time.
Fraggle Rock.
Oh my God, you had that one ready.
I mean, well, think about it. Like, think about how they did it, right? Like, they keep doing these things where it's like, what's relevant now in the Lego world that people care about, and then what's something that a parent who's like, or a 30-year-old man.
I'm holding out for Short Circuit.
Fuck yes, 1,000%. Arthur Parsons, are you listening? Get Johnny Five in there. Are you kidding me? That's a great idea, Tim.
Oh man, NWO Hollywood says, hello gentlemen, I have a question for Greg. Did you watch WCW and ECW back in the day? And did you ever play any of their wrestling games?
The answer is yes to both of those. I'll never ever forget the first time I watched ECW, and because we all loved WWF Attitude Era, we were all there, Stone Cold and Rock doing all this stuff, and probably just Stone Cold at this point because it's so early. But when my friend Jason came over and he was like, we were doing a sleepover or whatever, and all these people were there and all drinking soda. He's like, we got to stay up till whatever, like 1:30, because that's when on UPN they run ECW, and if you like this, you're gonna love that. And I remember we just made fun of ECW the entire time because it looked like something we would film. It was like in somebody's garage, you know what I mean? These idiots just hitting each other. But I fell in love with it and became such a huge ECW fan. And so during the Monday Night Wars, I'd pop back and forth, but I was WWF pretty tried and true. You know what I mean? Like I was pretty much on that, my whole thing. Game wise, of course you did. I talk about it all the time, like one of the reasons that, the way, in the late 90s, the people got back into wrestling so hard was the fact, of course, that, yeah, sure, it's Monday Night Wars and it's the Attitude Era and they're saying suck it and, people are getting their dicks chopped off and it's like, okay, that's kind of cool. That seems like something as a preteen. You remember that Val Venus getting castrated? You don't remember this? Oh, he shouldn't have hit on that girl. That was all well and good, but remember those N64 games. Remember, it was what WCW versus NWO Revenge was the one that everyone lost their mind for, and then the license flipped, and they went and made a WWF WrestleMania 2000, and then they made No Mercy. Yeah. And I think No Mercy is the better game, but it was all screwed up. But like in terms of a moment in time, WrestleMania 2000 was the most important. It seemed to me and a lot of people I talked to and what we play at like PAX Mania, right? Is the fact that game hit and it was 4 controllers, and we were all hopped up on loving what was happening with the wrestling and wanted to hang out and do all that stuff.
Was there any ECW game? I know there was.
There was.
During that generation?
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah. It was a PlayStation. It wasn't on N64.
Huh.
So what it was is that, so it was this whole roulette deal, right? So WCW was with THQ/AKI, right? And then that WCW went to EA. Then WWF went to AKI because they were getting their games made by Acclaim before. And these were the Acclaim games that were all the the combos and the bullshit, and it wasn't any fun. So then ECW signed the deal with Acclaim to put out their game and do that. And it was just like the same engine and all the crazy ass combos and dumb stuff. And it was like, all right, cool, I want to do a Van Daminator. Fuck, I fucked it up. I didn't do it. Damn it. Sucks.
Did you see that tonight, as of the time we were recording this, that they're going to do the draft again? Where SmackDown and Raw are going to be split again, where it's different rosters and who goes where.
Have they not been split? Have they unsplit?
Years ago. It's been
really?
Like, I think something like 5 years.
It's so hard to keep up with.
Everyone on the same thing.
Yeah.
And from last I heard, Xavier Woods is like turning heel.
No.
Yeah, it sounds
No.
like he did the whole thing where he walked away from his group,
Bootios?
his group, and he did
New
the
Day?
whole like
Nice.
stare down thing. I don't know.
You know it's gonna happen.
It
to
sounds
every
like
group.
a soft turn.
We'll talk to him at
Yeah, I
Comic-Con
wanna
this
know
week.
what's
We're
going
really
on.
excited to hang out with him. Kevin, sorry you can't come.
Wrestling, man.
Slevin29
I like Jake the Snake.
says, "Hey guys, in the wake of
Wait,
some
hold on. Time out. Have you watched the documentary yet?
No, I heard it's really fucking sad.
Yeah.
I really did. Heard it's not easy.
In the wake of some nostalgia-heavy releases like Pokemon Go and Nintendo's Mini NES, I want to know if any of you had any experience with the TurboGrafx 16 or the Turbo Duo console and game library. My family had both before we got a PlayStation in 97, and I used to love bringing friends over that had Nintendos or Super Nintendos or Segas to show them some of the best games on the console. Is it Ease?
Ease, yep.
Ease. Ease Book 1 and 2 were my first RPG, and it's still one of my favorite games of all time. Would love to hear your guys' thoughts on the really underrepresented console. I have absolutely no experience with it.
So yeah, I want to think my brother had a friend named John who had one.
This is how it goes. Because for me, Mike Boylan's brother Dan had one.
Yeah, so that was like my exposure to it. Was exposed to it more later. This is PC Engine stuff, and so I want to say this, that if you're a Patreon subscriber to us on Kind of Funny Games, I did an hour and a half or something, maybe a little less, with Jared Petty, and we talk about some of our favorite consoles. And he was saying that one of his favorite consoles, or his favorite console, is actually PC Engine, which is TurboGrafx. And goes very deep into that catalog on that episode, which is exclusive if you give us $1 a month. So you can really go listen to that and get like a lot of TurboGrafx shit out
That's
of him.
this month's one that's coming up, correct?
No, that was the one that's already
up.
up.
Okay.
The next one up will be me and Alexa about JRPGs. So yeah, but my exposure to that's really minimal. I remember the East games being really exciting to me. And I remember when Wanderers from East, which is the third East game, came to SNES, and that was a big deal. Because those games were really locked for a while behind like this thing no one had, like only a few million people in the West had it. But yeah, everyone knew, or at least I knew someone that, and people like had their connections. Neo Geo was the same thing, even rarer and way more expensive, where it was like, someone knows someone with a Neo Geo, right? Like I think my brother's friend PJ had one. And you can like use your memory cards. And it was a very, complicated kind of thing. But these were like almost, when I was a kid on the internet in the mid 90s, these are very mysterious systems. I remember I had a whole list of role-playing games. I was so obsessed with JRPGs and like the games that I missed because I didn't have these fucking consoles. And like, who the hell was going to buy a TurboGrafx or even a Turbo Duo, which is like even fucking weirder. So,
I just remember going over and watching people play Bonk.
Bonk, yeah. Bonk was
Jim Riley being obsessed with Bonk at IGN.
He was obsessed. What was he obsessed with though? He had
Airzonk was the other one.
right?
He had
Bonk and Airzonk.
He had the world record or something.
TurboGrafx Classics.
Airzonk.
What the fuck is Airzonk?
I don't even remember.
What the fuck is Bonk?
Oh, you remember Bonk?
Platformer.
No, I
Little
don't.
little dude, giant head. He was a little
Yeah, you would
caveman.
know it.
Oh, yeah,
Bonk-
yeah.
he bonked things.
Yeah. Huh. I never played it, but I have
Nobody
visual.
played it. They just knew who he was.
Man, all right. Reverse Flash says, "Hey Tim, Colin, and Greg. In recent years, Konami and Capcom have dropped the ball on a lack of their big IP getting new installments, Mega Man, Castlevania, etc. One IP from Capcom that surprised hasn't received a proper sequel is Okami. This game seems beloved by many gamers, and I was wondering why you guys think they haven't made a proper new entry in current platforms."
Because every time they try, they fuck it up. The re-release that had IGN's logo on the box art.
That was the best.
My God.
That was the fucking best. I loved that. That's like one of the best things that ever happened. I couldn't believe
in the
it.
history of life.
I was like, that's so good, man. That's amazing.
Were you guys at IGN
yeah.
at that time?
Yep. We were
Oh my
totally
God.
there.
That was how'd that go?
I remember everyone was
out.
fucking, it was hysterical, dude. I was like, that is the funniest thing I've ever seen in my life. How the hell that happened. Capcom's so weird. I think Okami's not as big as people think it is. And
What do you mean by that? Not as big.
It's like what I say about Mirror's Edge. Like, because we're in this like little circle, we expect that everyone wants an Okami sequel. Just like everyone wants a Mirror's Edge sequel, except for they didn't and no one bought it. And it wasn't very good. So, but wasn't there an Okami? Wasn't there an Okami sequel on DS?
3D, yeah, not 3DS. DS, yes. There was.
Okamiden or whatever?
Yeah, but it was different.
Okay, so
and they re-released it on
they released it on
PlayStation
PS3
as well with the
versions.
Move, right? Yeah.
And I played it again on PS3 for a little while. I mean, it's like, that's definitely not the egregious Capcom shit that's sitting dormant. Like Okami is definitely not the game that comes to mind when I'm like, why isn't there a sequel to this? Onimusha is the fucking franchise where I'm like, why is this dead? What are we nuts? Like what's happening here with this game? Mm-hmm. I still feel like
I'm sure John Reno wants to come back. All I want's an Onimusha 3-2.
I just don't know if you really believe that game's good or not.
No, I love that guy. I legitimately love that game.
More than the first two.
Yes.
You like Onimusha 3 more than Onimusha 1 and 2.
It controls like a game should control. Not all tanky and shit.
No.
Onimusha 1's great. Onimusha 2, I'm not a big fan of.
Onimusha is probably the first fantastic PS2 game. It's a lot. Well, maybe the Bouncer, but a lot of people.
Not the Bouncer.
I love the Bouncer. The game's way underrated. Way underrated.
No. It is perfectly rated. It is rated.
I wanted to like the Bouncer so much. I remember getting that.
I liked it. I liked the Bouncer. I remember Ryan Clements and I were simpatico with that.
He also liked Folklore.
Yeah, he did. He gave it a 9.
The opening cinematic of Onimusha 3. That alone.
It's so bad, dude. Onimusha 3 is so fucking totally
awesome.
weird. It's such a weird game. I remember buying it and being like, this sucks. Why am I shooting a gun? You know?
Awesome.
In an Onimusha game, why do I have a gun?
It's
why am
cool.
I even in modern day in an Onimusha game? It doesn't really make any sense.
I like Samanosuke. He's my boy.
Yeah, Samanosuke's a great
That's why I like 1 and 3. I never played Dawn of Dreams or whatever the fuck.
The fourth one?
Is it Dawn of Dreams?
Yeah, the fourth one's great. That was a late PS2
I heard it was
game.
really good.
It's a
but
really great game.
I just never got it.
And it controls like the way you want it to.
Yeah, I know. I can imagine. But yeah, 2, I don't know. I didn't like all the other characters. I didn't like switching between all of them or whatever. But give me Jean Reno. I'm into that.
I don't know. I still don't
I'll
believe
switch
that
to
you
him
like
any
it.
day. I do. I want it back, please. Oh, speaking of PS2 classics, I'm super excited about this. A couple weeks ago, we were talking about which ones we want. I said Kinetica. Kinetica's there.
Yeah, it's coming.
I didn't
out.
know that shit.
Yeah, they did a video. Santa Monica. That's Sony Santa Monica's first game.
Yeah.
People might have seen that they released a video, like a retrospective on that game, because there's some people that are still working at the studio that worked on it.
Oh, I need to check that out.
Yeah, it's cool.
That's super awesome. I love that fucking game. Anyways, ladies and gentlemen, this has been Kind of Funny Gamescast. We will see you next week. I love you.